Welcome to Crosby's Crew.
All right, welcome back to Crosby's Crew. And as we start every episode, we're going to give a little toast, and it'll give a little insight into what we're doing today. So here's to wine, to friendship, and to the sweetness of life in every glass and every moment. Cheers. All right.
Ooh, before Holly and Keith lead us through our wine lineup for the day, we're just going to give you a quick little overview. So far at Crosby's Crew, we've had our first guest, and we've also been kind of debunking some American wine myths and rounding out just a little bit of basic wine information. So we're all kind of operating from the same place. So we've learned how to approach wine kind of in 3 phases. We've learned that we can just enjoy wine in all of our everyday activities by kind of banking away these notes of things that we're smelling. And today we're going to kind of continue down the path of our episode where we learned sulfites are not to be feared. That is, unless like you find sulfur guns to be scary, that we don't have to hang our hat on clean or organic wine, that there's more emphasis on the relationship of knowing who you're buying wine from, how they care for the land and their grapes, and let's not kind of nose our way towards being, like chained to spoiled fruit for the rest of our lives, because that sounds terrible. And then today we're going to kind of continue to contrast American wine style and European wine style, or maybe just some misconceptions about how American wine and European wines might differ if, you're kind of still in the camp that American wine doesn't interest you much. And we're going to branch out a little and kind of talk to people who might just not have an interest in wine at all, or feel like they can't or shouldn't drink wine, and see if we can't, dip our toe in the sugar conversation.
Well, we're going to talk about how we should not approach drinking wine and all like in fear of sugar content or things like that. It's that is not the most important aspect of this. Like the sugar content, Holly and Keith will talk about what all that means.
So sugar has a role, sometimes positive, sometimes negative in wine. And we're just going to kind of learn what questions to ask and learn when it's actually a really positive process. So Holly and Keith, would you tell us about the wines we're drinking?
We can. How about you do it, darling?
Yes. We're going to start with, first of all, it's nice to see you guys.
Always good to see you.
Yeah, good to see you. I know it's been a little bit.
I know.
We are going to start with a little New Zealand Sauvignon Blanc.
Because you can find it anywhere. I found it at every store I walked into, which was
exactly
even when I was buying a mop.
So we have the 2023 Matua.
True.
And
And
this only in Napa.
This is the Marlborough New Zealand Sauvignon Blanc. So we'll start there. And then
let's talk about the lineup.
Yeah. And then the next wine we'll get to is the Chateau Saint Michelle Riesling. This is a Riesling from Columbia Valley up in Washington State. And nice. If we feel so motivated, we will finish with a little bit of bubbles. Gloria Ferrer from Carneros, Sonoma Carneros. So we'll go through the Sauv Blanc, the Riesling, and some sparkling wine.
And we chose these wines because A, it's summer, and B, because these are wines with it require sugar to really be what they are, right? Mm-hmm. Exactly. And so just having a conversation about sugar, where it comes from and how it can be useful. And then we will, there's always a darker side of it. And so we'll touch a little bit on some of the negatives, but keeping it positive and...
Yeah, exactly. I think one thing I know both of you have heard me say before about wine is balance. Balance is very important, and sometimes sugar plays a role in that in certain wines.
Have you guys seen the stuff on Instagram of like the wine balance challenges?
Oh, where people are like actually balancing on a wine bottle?
We're going to do that. No, they're like doing,
that's cool.
They're doing sort
fun.
of athletic things, like stretching, like almost going through like yoga flow poses. Oh. And they're either doing it holding a glass of wine, or they're like incorporating sips of wine as they go. I'm really looking forward to trying this. Yeah. But a quick circle back when you were talking about those 3 wines that you selected being, like sugar plays an important role. It kind of takes me back to our sulfite conversation just for a second, where it's like the point of this, like as a winemaker, is to get the, fully express the fruit or like the style of wine you're making, right?
Yes.
So where sulfites are a tool that hopefully you're not like overly heavy handed on it, but it's not what's giving you headaches or anything, but it's helping the fruit stay in barrels longer so it can reach its potential. And I don't know, I just feel like sugar is always bad in every conversation we ever have. And I'm kind of excited to hear, the sweeter side of sugar.
Yeah.
It can do something useful.
What it's good
we should
for
call
in
the
the
episode
wine.
this.
I do
the
like
sweeter
that.
side of sugar.
Yeah.
Okay, so before we go down candy cane lane over here, Keith, Holly, we hear often, I'm saying often with like friends who we're not going to name, I just prefer European wine. It's so much better. We've already talked about the climate, right? So like California's warmer than Europe, but we know we have cooler winemaking climates in America too. Mm-hmm. So then it'd be the winemaking styles. So they're more traditional over there. Well, we know at Vineyard 29, where you are and leading the whole operation there, that you guys use technology to mimic really old world traditions. So that's kind of off the table. So then the next thing is kind of maybe, do all American wines ferment in American oak barrels? Like, is that why European wine is better? Because I thought we've talked a bit about French oak too. Better.
No, we
More
use
preferred?
actually at Vineyard 29, we use exclusively French oak. So only French oak. What a lot of folks don't know is actually most Spanish wines, most wines from Rioja at least, and other regions, Priorat and some other regions, are actually aged in American oak. So go figure. And a lot of Australian Shiraz is aged in American oak, and Australian cabs and things like that are aged in American oak. Even some really beautiful Italian wines are notoriously aged in American oak. So it goes back and forth. There's several wineries here in Napa and just in the U.S. in general that do use American oak, and even some folks will do like 80% French, 20% American, or 60-40 or things like that. The biggest difference is really the porosity in the wood. And
Okay, hold on. Porosity,
the thickness of,
like porousness.
Yeah.
and the thickness of the staves, and basically the tightness of the grain. So French oak typically has a tighter grain. I'm generalizing, but French oak typically has a tighter grain, and American oak is usually wider grained, a little looser, a little more porous. And so the American oak is gonna sort of give its impact a lot faster. French oak is more subtle integration over time. That's the biggest difference right there. And then there's all kinds of toasting and water bending and steam bending and fire bending and all kinds of stuff you can talk about when it comes to oak. But in general,
You sound like a wizard.
no, I just
you
love
know-
it.
Bending and wood bending.
But there's also
I love that.
flavored profiles that are distinctly different between French and American oak. And it's really, if anybody's done a lineup of Cabernet, a lot of times a wine, silver oak, which everybody knows and is, very, very well known, very renowned, very great wine. Sometimes it stands out as different in a tasting because it is one of the few Napa Cabernets that exclusively uses
American oak. Yeah. In silver oak. And that's like a lot of folks call it sort of a butterscotch. There's sort of a creaminess to it, a sweet creaminess. Sometimes people say toffee caramel type of thing, but it's in that field, it's in that ballpark. That's what it adds to the wine.
As opposed to French oak, what's some classic characteristics? More vanilla,
Mocha.
Mm-hmm.
So is this kind of like when we were talking about tasting notes in wine, and we were asking if they were like made up, just like how creative can you be? And you're like, no, they're actually chemical compounds that mirror these things. Is the oak barrels, like, is it that literal also?
Yes,
like,
absolutely.
You could find it in the wine. Wow. It's
organic chemistry. I'm always going back
science.
to it.
I mean, it's more science.
I like magic
Scary.
better.
I know,
than
same.
science.
Sales and magic. That's where I like to.
You're just a magician. Yeah.
Okay. So Mason.
That's how I view you, Keith.
I do too. So Mason, with like, let's just talk about football players for a second.
Oh,
right?
man. Okay.
So you've got European footballers, right, who are soccer players.
Yes. Footballers.
And then you've got American football players.
Yep.
So can you draw?
Only one of those positions actually, or two of them, I guess, use their feet. So
Right.
yes,
So
it's very confusing.
So would you say like if American oak is kind of like gives more of its flavor in the beginning and all of that, and European oak or French oak is like this, more subtle approach? Like, can you just on the dot here on the spot, could you come up with some sort of correlation here for American
Between
football
American and
yeah
and European football?
You can drink some wine if you need inspiration.
If I think about
or,
specifically like the EFL compared to like the NFL, which EFL is the English Football League, and so all those teams, they're literally teams. So if we think about French oak or like that, and like the tighter, less porous, like all of those things, like there are teams that see each other's stadiums from one another, like Everton and Liverpool.
Oh,
that's
he's
a
going
good
geographic.
point. Oh, I like that.
Well, I'm just thinking
that's a
about
good
how
point.
it's set up, right?
It's all
It's
so much
congested and
closer.
everything's closer. So if you want to look at it that way, and then NFL is spread across the country, and you have these pockets of teams and things like that. And like if you think about the oak that way, it kind of makes sense. Like America is spread out across the country, get you a little more space. You put me on the spot.
I would say that even though American oak, a lot of those forests and a lot of those barrels are made in the Midwest, like Missouri and whatnot. I would argue that Green Bay, because they are owned by the people, are very integrated in the team. So I would make them a little more French oak. Mm-hmm. Green Bay specifically, despite their Midwest American oak roots.
I like it.
Wow, I love that. Okay, one more. Maybe Holly and Keith could talk into this in too, or maybe we need Audrey on the show. What about like American soccer versus European football, like playing styles?
Gosh, like
I have so much energy today.
Deep dive comparison of like expansive league.
Just get into culture. Well, we're going to move on here in just a second.
Yeah, well, I mean, I don't know how to compare oaks in that way. But do we just want to
the tightness and the expansiveness? So like
Well, I think America is like. And if you think American oak versus a European French oak, America is always looking in their sports leagues. Like you're talking right now, Major League Baseball looking to expand teams. Yes. It's always talking about expansion. Yeah. So if you want to put in sports analogies, think, America's expansion, like a little more space, all those things. You think Europe, French, oak, you think like tighter knit, or we can go Green Bay, tight knit community, something that it's like,
not room for
you kind of have to like know it and be a part of it, and it's going to take a little more time to to get out of a French oak barrel what you want to get out.
This guy's good.
I'm not even going to tell you that there's Hungarian oak and Chinese oak. That's like for that we're not even.
Okay, no. That's like for a year from now when we're masters.
I don't know if I can. Yeah, I'm not sure I can dive into
these. You sound really smart right now.
But even I'm just gonna close it.
Right, I'm done talking. Molly said I sound really smart, so I'm done.
I'm gonna close it with one thing.
Just gonna drink.
When Keith said everything at Vineyard 29 is done in French oak, that's not necessarily exclusive to Vineyard 29. Most of our friends, a lot of these high-end Napa Cabernet producers are exclusively using French oak, right?
Yeah. Okay. Yes.
That's all.
Mm-hmm. Oh, that was really friendly. That was really friendly, Holly. So we talked about this the last All Together episode also, that, Americans maybe as a people group, as a culture, are known to have like sweeter food, a sweeter palate, and Europeans are known, and maybe it's not even like something we had this big, intention towards. It's the climate of how our food ends up tasting, our produce perhaps. But so European wine has that cooler climate, and they tend to prefer a little less sweet. And then in America, wines might be produced a little bit more towards that sweetness preferred palate. So that leads us down the road to wine has too much sugar for me to drink.
This is such a big one.
And Holly, didn't we want to make a medical disclaimer first? Like, if you have any sort of issue, any sort of medical condition,
we are not doctors.
And we're not encouraging you to start being wine drinkers, like if you're a diabetic.
For sure.
Yeah, and we're also going to make
Please
a
hear us
lot
out.
of broad generalizations about this just to kind of help understand the point a little bit. So, and we have in the past tested a lot of the wines that we're talking about to know exact sugars, but a lot of the wines we're talking about today, we're not even going to use those like this is fermented. We know this still has this much residual sugar in it. Like we're not doing any of that today. We're not throwing anybody under the bus. We're just kind of giving a broad overview.
We're not doctor. We're not trying to like say, do this, do that with sugar or any of that stuff. But we do kind of want to just talk about how sugar plays into the wine world and like how, how wines have sugar in it, but it's not, we don't have to view it as a negative.
Yeah. And a lot of wines don't have sugar. And we're focusing on the ones that do and how that plays into it. And I will just say, I don't mean for this to be controversial, but what Molly was saying about how the American palate tends towards sweeter tastes. We drink potentially more soda than other parts in the world. Our food is sweeter. Our drinks are sweeter. So if you're thinking about a big producer, we have been talking about a lot of small producers, and we're encouraging people to, find these small producers and learn where your wine's coming from. If you are a large producer and you're in Target and you're in every major grocery store, and we're not talking about a small winery. We're talking about somebody that's created a label for this reason. So if you're making millions of hundreds of thousands of cases, million cases, you have to appeal to as many people as possible, correct? So if you're like, okay, we know that the American palate tends towards liking sweeter wines, and European wines do this too. Australian wines, the wines that get exported to the United States, a lot of them, the American palate is sweeter, so we will leave sugar in our wines and make them sweeter. That's kind of what we mean. So when we're talking about that, we're talking about broad, large productions. When you go to a grocery store, we're not talking about, oh, I recognize that, or, oh, I visited that winery. We're talking about ones like, oh, look, broad assumption there. But if you kind of connect those two in your head, it does make sense. Am I off base on that?
No, you're right on.
Yeah.
And we still are all on board for people drinking wine that they enjoy.
100%.
That's not the point of this episode, is to say stop buying this wine at Target that you really enjoy. Not at all. Yeah. It's more if you don't drink wine at all because you're afraid of sugar content, we're saying there is avenues for you to understand the sugar in the wine. Yeah. And even, if you follow Crosby's Crew as we get past some of this general knowledge and into really specific wine recommendations, sugar, if you don't have a medical condition, doesn't have to be a barrier to you enjoying wine.
Yeah, which is what we're going into. And again, if you really are enjoying a wine that you find at Target, but as you're learning more, maybe take that wine to a wine shop with zero shame. They love this. This is why wine shops and independent wine shops exist. Or larger wine shop, take it and say, hey, I'm just getting into wine. I've been drinking this wine. I really enjoy it. This is what I enjoy about it. I would love to see if there is an alternative that's maybe a smaller producer or maybe something I haven't heard of. And then there you go. You've learned a second wine that you like, and you go from there. Right?
I like that.
And I feel very strongly about if it's in your budget or if it works out with your time, drinking them side by side. I really don't think there's any other way to learn what you like.
Yep.
Do it as they do in Napa. Open up a few bottles and share it with friends.
Oh, man.
By a few, you mean 8.
We're opening a lot
You got
tonight.
For us, Kohler isn't just a brand, it's a part of our story. My dad was an exclusive Kohler dealer, so I grew up knowing their commitment to quality and design.
And for me, I helped open Lodge Kohler in Green Bay, and we've celebrated some of our best memories there, like my 40th birthday at Black Wolf Run.
Kohler, Wisconsin and Kohler properties have always been our favorite places to relax, connect, and of course, enjoy great wine together.
So it feels full circle that Kohler Company, boldly innovating for over 150 years, is now part of Crosby's Crew, bringing extraordinary moments to everyday life. Cheers to that.
All right, guys.
Okay, what's next, Miles?
We're ready for you. Well, do you want to talk about these specific wines and sugar
Yes.
or dive into the sugar?
Yep.
All right.
I'd love to dive in. Let's talk about the New Zealand Sauvignon Blanc, and then we can empty our glasses, however you'd like to do that, Mason. And then we'll go into the Washington Riesling. So the New Zealand Sauvignon Blanc, it's, as Holly said, this is a large production. They make a ton of it, and you can find it everywhere, the Matua. And it is intentionally fermented to a level, you can either, the winemaker has a choice. You can either ferment to dryness, like all the way bone dry, or you can stop the fermentation. You can halt the fermentation, and that'll leave a little bit of residual sugar in there. Or you can ferment it to dryness and then add sugar later after the fermentation. So you have a lot of options. But this was intentionally left with a little bit of sugar in there, just a touch. But it's because of the acidity in the wine. This is a cold growing region. We talked in one of our previous episodes about cool climates and colder growing regions versus warm. This is a cold growing region.
You forget that New Zealand, right, has mountains and snow, and
You
like
worked
it's
the hardest in the snow there.
Yeah, the most difficult harvest I ever worked was 2004 in New Zealand, and it snowed
New Zealand?
every day. It was snowing. We were picking grapes in the snow.
Oh my goodness!
Yeah, it was crazy.
Oh, that had to be crazy.
Yeah. So the reason that the acid is so high and the pH is so low is because it's cold, and it's picked pretty early, and so it's an early harvest. The acidity is piercing, so the sugar is balanced with the acidity. So the winemaking team will find that perfect balance, that harmony between sweetness and acidity, and that's why they leave a little bit of sugar. If they did not leave a little sugar in here and they fermented it to dryness, like I do with my Sauvignon Blancs here in Napa and Sonoma, then it might be just a little too racy.
It would take the enamel off your teeth.
Yes, exactly. So the sugar is used on purpose here for balance. And it's not it's not necessarily sweet. It's still a off dry wine, a relatively dry wine. But if you didn't have that sugar, you'd be hurting. Yeah.
Yeah, and think about when you make a dish, sometimes you're like, wow, why do I add salt to this? Well, we know that, or why do I add a little bit of sugar to this? Sometimes it's really just to bring out the other flavors. Yeah. Like a pinch of sugar, pinch of salt.
That's like tomato sauce, right?
Yeah, exactly. But
you add a little bit of sugar.
But you think like, wait, why am I putting sugar in my tomato sauce? But that's exactly right, Molly. Yes, this acidity in tomatoes, there's acidity in grapes. It's just, so having that there, just helps bring out what you love about New Zealand Sauvignon Blanc. Is that fresh acidity, is the gooseberries, which everybody always talks about, but a lot of those flavors are accentuated and you'd be so overwhelmed, I think, by the acid that you wouldn't see the things that are actually really lovely about this wine.
Yeah, absolutely.
Should we go ahead and try and say what we taste or smell?
Please.
Yes. Embarrassing ourselves. Okay. And I saw you guys, you did our approach. So like, even though it's a white wine, it still needs oxygen. We're swirling.
Well, and I will say I learned something. I haven't had this wine in a very, very long time, I assume. And since
the last time we were at an airport, probably.
Yeah, I do.
Fair.
I do.
Fair.
This is your airport wine.
Yes,
I like that.
I have a very, very dear friend.
Man, that should be one of our shows.
Hey, we should fly somewhere and
airport
meet
wine.
and just
this is
have
what
wine.
we drink. I have a very dear friend.
Who's writing this down? This would be great.
All right, we have some new show
notes.
lineups. I love it. All right, tell the story.
I have a very, very dear friend in Boston who I love. We both love so, so much. And her and I were both in sales, selling wines. And we both admit to each other, like, wait, my favorite guilty pleasure is going to a restaurant where nobody knows me, like a tourist restaurant, an airport, and ordering a humongous glass of Sauvignon Blanc, because New Zealand Sauvignon Blanc at anonymous places always comes in a humongous glass. And we call them tiny giants.
Tiny giants.
Tiny giants.
Yeah.
Because I'm just gonna have a tiny giant glass of New Zealand Sauvignon Blanc. It's our, and I was like, wait, that's my favorite. And she was like, that's my favorite.
Yeah.
So this is when we drink it. But I will say, when we first opened it, I was like, wow, this doesn't smell as good as I wanted. And Keith pointed out, this is in a screw cap. And sometimes there's a little bit of
It takes a
Yeah,
second.
it's in a reductive environment. There's no oxygen. Corks are porous, and so they have a tiny, tiny, tiny little bit of micro oxygen going in. Screw caps that's a tight seal, and when you pop that seal, it needs a little bit. It needs a little bit of time to open up. And so when we first smelled it, it was like
sad,
a little bit of
and I'm not sad anymore.
canned corn type of thing. And those are all just different. Again, those are different compounds.
fascinating.
Those are thiols or mercaptans or other things in the wine, and they just need a little bit of air to blow off, and then it's beautiful.
Yeah.
So nervous.
Don't be nervous.
It's just so embarrassing.
The whole
I just
point-
don't have enough words.
No, the whole point of this is
tropical
not-
fruit and green grass.
Perfect.
That's what I get.
Boom.
That's absolutely perfect. That's very characteristic of Sauvignon Blanc.
Nailed
Or
it.
maybe it's because
Yes.
our lawn got...
No, it's cut grass.
I'm over here. Molly brought some like Skittles, and I do.
There you go.
Okay, I brought Skittles and carrots, and it's for
And I
later on in the
almost- I'm like-
conversation.
Sometimes you have
It's
to
like
taste
a
the rainbow.
combination of a couple. Yes, I'm like, it's not one specific Skittle, but
I'd go with the green.
I'm almost getting
I
like
go
a
green
blend.
Skittle.
Yeah,
Or just
I
putting
have
all
the-
this
right
Is that
here.
like green
at once.
apple? Put in all the Skittles.
Yeah.
Maybe. Just shake them
I
around.
thought he was going to put it up his nose. He went
We'll just try
right
that
up
out.
there.
But those are very,
Okay,
people
something
talk about
fun.
grassiness.
Well, really?
Yes.
While Mason's smelling,
job.
I want to point out something fun about this bottle that I don't know. Will you ever see a snowflake and not think about like frozen tundra or Lambeau Field again? Okay, so if you look at this cute little thing on the bottle.
Snowflake.
Yeah.
It says,
so
"When turns
fun.
blue, I'm chilled and
Oh
ready."
my gosh, it's
Nice.
like Coors Light.
Yep.
It's
Head for the mountains.
exactly. Head for the mountains
Of New Zealand.
of New Zealand.
Okay. What do you smell, Mason? What do you taste? Oh, his is gone.
His is gone.
Oh, I just was going with what you said, and I
Oh,
told
what
you
I
about
said?
the
It doesn't have
Skittles.
it. I
Yeah.
noticed that too.
Whoa.
13%. I found it.
Where'd you find
I found it. 13%.
Where?
You guys, I'm a very good student.
Oh, I found it.
Right above the
Oh,
barcode.
man, they made it tiny. Next to, from previous episodes, contains sulfites, which guess what? We're totally fine with.
Great job, guys. We're glad to have you.
So-
Way to keep everybody in line.
The fact
keep
that
us
it
safe.
is 13% alcohol, it's a very low alcohol, that might suggest that there is a little bit of sugar in it, that all of that sugar has not fermented to alcohol or the alcohol would have been higher. So, because remember, we're telling you, yes, there's a little bit of sugar in there. We're not verifying that. We're not sending this to a lab. We just assume there is because all signs point to it, because you don't have to actually put on the label, this has sugar. You do have to legally put the alcohol. So we're just giving you the tools to kind of deduct that a little bit.
And that, my friends, leads us into our second wine.
Yeah.
Because
Which-
our second
Ooh.
wine
Yes.
actually does tell you
Yeah.
that there is a little bit of sugar in there.
Which
So
I've never seen and I was very excited to see.
And
dump your
I
glass?
want to explain while I was doing this motion with my arms. When you were talking about that, Holly, it almost made me think of a teeter-totter. So it's like if you have a lot of alcohol, that means it fermented the sugar out. So it's lighter.
It's such
or
a
higher.
light color.
yeah.
So
I mean-
We've moved on.
Mason, what are these?
This is yours.
Oh,
Okay.
this is fun.
See, and I'm still. This is
No,
this is how
the
I like
Riesling,
it
right?
best.
That's
Yeah.
what we were pouring.
Yeah.
I have
Yeah,
both.
it's such
still.
a light. I mean,
It's a pretty wine.
look at the color.
My new food
Whoa,
and
it smells so
good.
different.
My new food and wine came, but I pulled out like last month because it actually is Hot Nights Cool Noodles. And Keith is going to talk about why this wine would be
Ooh, I like that.
fantastic with spicy noodles.
Yeah, there's a nice harmony between a good Riesling and a lot of Vietnamese or a lot of different Asian dishes, honestly. But we
Really?
love some Vietnamese noodles and things like that with some spice in a good Riesling.
I'm getting hungry.
I know. It's 10 a.m. here. Riesling is very interesting because it is intentionally dry or intentionally sweet and everywhere in between.
Everywhere in
and
between.
Riesling is one of the few varietals, whether we're talking Germany, whether we're talking Alsace, whether we're talking Washington or California, that actually specifically ferments for that style, right? And is usually pretty open about it. One of Keith's favorite wines is the Trefethen Dry Riesling, and it's called Trefethen Dry Riesling.
Right.
yeah.
It's delicious.
It is.
So they go all the way to dryness.
Dry
It's
meaning.
delicious.
Yeah,
Dry
they
meaning-
go all the way to
Okay.
dryness with that wine, but you don't have to. So this Chateau Ste. Michelle 2023 Columbia Valley Riesling, actually on the back it has a little chart of sweetness.
love that.
So it goes from dry to sweet, and this shows that it's right in between medium dry and medium sweet. And then it even tells you that there's 3 grams per sugar per glass,
Oh,
per 5 ounce
wow.
glass. So it's just totally informative. I think that's for
That's
the
really cool.
for the American palate these days. They
Give you
give
a
you
lot of
calories,
info, yes.
carbs, all that stuff.
I don't want to know that, but
Yeah,
I
I
do
know, exactly.
appreciate it.
Yeah. So it's good. A lot of information. You know, you can either
that's really
have
cool.
something that
I do think for like the kind of this generation, like the younger generation, we're trying to, like get them, get out of your 20s, like, or like, let's get into wine.
Yeah.
Or be a better
I
20.
think they've just grown up though. Like we've grown up in this, in that generation of everything has a label, exactly what's in it, all the information. If you can feel comfortable with the information, then you can
You
go
can make your
consume.
decision.
I
So
think that's
the point is to look at
exactly.
this and know that there's a little bit of sugar and plan according. Like, okay, this has a little bit of sugar. That means it's going to cancel some of the heat in a dish. Or, if you are really, really watching sugar, then you say, okay, I know, so I'm going to factor this into my day. I'm going to factor this into the decisions that I make the rest of the day.
And then alcohol percentage wise, this is only 12%. So it's a nice low. A lot of Rieslings are. I mean, I've had some wonderful Austrian and German Rieslings, the home of Riesling, that are literally 8.5%. I'm not kidding, and they're
Meaning they have more
delicious.
sugar.
Yeah, they're sweet, but they're like 8.5, 9% alcohol. And those are food wines. It's not a wine that I'm going to be drinking a bunch of glasses of, but it's so good with certain foods.
So this is saying there's how many grams of sugar?
I like that.
3 grams of
Per
sugar.
5 ounce. Yeah.
5. And it has slightly lower alcohol than that Matua Sauvignon Blanc. It's maybe safe to say that there's less alcohol in that Matua. Maybe? Or is that just way too broad?
I don't know. You're broad.
Okay, we're not doing math. No math. Not my strong suit.
No math.
my strong
Can I
suit.
ask a question? And this might be an episode or a part of another episode, but I'm looking at the bottles we have open. And I've kind of been curious about it.
style.
And like why are Rieslings always in this longer, skinnier
that's a
bottle?
great
Like
question.
what are the different bottle types and why do you put the different types of wines in these specific bottles? Is there an easy answer there? Or is this just kind of
tradition?
Okay.
I can tell you
Tradition.
the mold number.
That's it,
That
right?
made me think of
It's a lot.
Fiddler on the Roof,
It's
right?
a lot to do with tradition. So these are
Because you get like Pinot Noirs and like
this shape is
Sauvignon, like in that shape.
this shape is a burgundy.
It's a burgundy.
It's called a burgundy.
So it's
and then
just
the fact
like
that it's clear
traditional,
instead
okay.
of a darker. We call it flint. It's a flint color. This is called.
I remember you saying flint. I like that.
This color is called antique green, but there's also other colors. Like this one is called champagne green. Happens to be a sparkling wine. But
love these
it's it's a
greens.
lighter color green. The antique green is a darker green. And then this bottle shape is called a Hock, Hock, or other people call it Altus, Altuse. But it's basically the classic German, Austrian Riesling Gewürztraminer bottle.
I love that.
Silvaner comes in these as well. But then you can think outside the box. And nowadays, some people are, putting... you don't see a Chardonnay in a Bordeaux-shaped bottle, a claret-shaped bottle,
No.
You just don't see that very often. But people sometimes do put Sauvignon Blanc into Burgundy-shaped bottles, and Sauvignon Blanc's not from Burgundy. And we do that with our At-Large brand, and we do that with a lot of different things. So you can think outside the box and be creative, but there are general guidelines where, Bordeaux-style wines, Bordeaux wines are going to be in a Bordeaux, a claret bottle, and then Burgundy wines are going to be in a Burgundy bottle. Those are general guidelines.
I like general guidelines.
Okay.
You got
That's
it.
a great question, and
That's good.
that is a lot of good knowledge. Bottle shape is
I
a
feel a
big
little
deal.
embarrassed.
Appreciate
Line 'em up,
that.
I'll knock 'em
I
down.
like that.
Yeah, bottle shape is huge. He can tell you all about. I know what that is. Producer is.
I don't know. I'm bad because the rebel in me would be just like I'm gonna shake this whole thing up, and I'm throwing cabs
Different
and
types.
Fine.
and Riesling bottles.
That's not enough cab.
I'd get
like
crazy.
that.
I would just let's throw caution to the wind. Let's see what people do whenever they're like, wait, what am I drinking?
But
Oh my
wait a
goodness.
minute, Mr. Green Bay Packers. Tradition is a big deal.
I like the tradition, but every once in a while you just gotta throw
You
it.
gotta walk around the
Yeah,
G
you gotta-
and say your
You
mantra.
gotta change it out a little bit.
Oh my gosh,
Yeah,
when you all
exactly.
came and Holly was like tracing the G in the locker room, like giving
Because
her.
I
Oh my
went
gosh,
on the
yes.
Clearly
tour
worked.
and they told me that's what they do.
And they
Bless
said
their
that-
hearts. And then I asked
We
Mason
walk
the
around
next
the
day and
G.
he was like, that's just what they tell the tour.
Speaking
But they're
motivation
so great. He
and encouraging
was
words to one
awesome.
another.
He was a great tour
You
guide.
have to be like well remembered
love
in
that.
Lambeau because remember Mason lent you his team issued beanie, and you went into the pro shop
best.
and you're like, I want this beanie.
Yes.
And they're like, where did you get that?
I did. I went to
You're
the,
like,
I
"From my
stood in
friend."
the line that went out the door. Like it was like a Disneyland ride to get into a department store sized pro shop. And I was like, I wanted
the
to get
best
my
pro
daughter,
shop.
who was so mad to not be there, I wanted to get her a beanie that, Molly was like, just grab any beanie from the beanie box. And so I grabbed a beanie, I took it in, and I said, hi, I just am looking for where this beanie is. And they all were like, and they all came over and they were like, where did you steal that from? And I was like, my
They
friend
were gonna come
Mason let
after
me
you, yeah.
wear it. They were like, oh my God. It was really spectacular.
Oh, that's awesome.
You had a big weekend, and that was a big win. It
was a huge win.
Stick to tradition, Mason.
Stick to
All right,
tradition.
I'll stay with tradition.
Yeah.
And look at this.
You've convinced me.
I feel like there's no way this bottle holds as much wine.
It sure does. It's not an optical illusion.
It does.
But Molly, stop.
See? I mean, look
Stop
how much
distracting
taller
from
it
the
is.
fact that you haven't told us what you smell in this wine.
Yep.
Okay, all right,
Don't
fine.
overthink it.
Yes.
Don't overthink it.
I think
There's
Mason
no
has to
wrong
go
answers.
first this time because he
No,
just said
you already
samesies last time.
you already said
Samesies.
I said something really smart earlier, so
He's gonna
I'm,
stick with it.
I'm just kind of I'm leaving it.
I still
I'm
have
leaving
some
it
of the
with that.
Sauvignon Blanc because
Wait, you're going both? You can't
I
do a
just
double.
love comparing. So now when I smell between the two, it's like, gosh, this really is tropically
Yes.
smelling. And while I'm smelling, Keith,
Oh,
would you smelling, Keith, would you explain to me for a minute, because I've never thought about pairing sweet wines with food. Like,
Yes.
in my very like basic wine knowledge, I'm like, oh, like wine should be not sweet to go with food.
Holly, actually, you can take this one. If you like.
Okay. Well, think about when you're talking
She's such a good cook.
Cabernet, and sometimes if there is a higher alcohol, and some people say, oh, this tastes hot, this makes which is not a positive thing. I don't mean it like that. But, when there's tannins and there's heat, like you want to, that's not going to pair with something spicy. If you have a spicy food, you don't want to pair it with a spicy wine. You don't want to pair a Zinfandel with a spicy Mexican food, right? Like you want something, the whole point is you want something to bring out what you love about the food, but
makes
also
sense.
kind of protect you from it. So if there's some spice, like an actual chili spice, you can actually counter that with a cooling wine.
Yeah,
And
this
having a
Riesling will
little bit of
just
sugar.
cut right through that heat on your palate. This Riesling will just cut right through that, and it's just refreshing and it's delicious combo.
Yeah, if you want the
Did I-
opposite when it comes to something like that, a cold white wine with a little bit of sugar will just counter that
Chili oil, and all that
spiced
stuff.
chili
Yeah.
so well. That's why with, again, a spicy Asian noodle dish, this is like perfect. Like you wouldn't pair
Yeah,
a Cabernet, you wouldn't have something hot and then you try and cool your mouth off with something hot.
This almost feels a little effervescent.
this is a weird because it almost again like, and I think it's to the mineral side of it. Like it's almost like sand or like crushed limestone. Like I'm like tasting
Yeah, there you
like
go.
Yes, this guy's
yeah,
good.
like it.
That's
yeah.
what I thought
And
too.
then like.
I love it.
And then the fruits, it's like a little, maybe like, yeah, like the peach apricot. Like,
you
Apricot
read the
for
back of the
sure.
bottle. That's why I didn't say peach.
oh, you
that's-
read it? I didn't read it.
I did read that. I love to read
Stone
things.
fruit.
But I love it. It's so subtle.
Mason's over
like,
here
it's
saying
not
this is
an
a
over-
decomposed limestone.
Yeah,
It's from
I
the
know, right?
sedimentary soils.
Do you know what this reminds
Water
me
activity
of?
thousands
Do you remember
of
that
years ago.
time we put those limestone pavers in our yard?
Yeah, I love it.
Same smell.
Yep. Yeah. And then I sprayed them with water, and then I laid on it, and I
then
got
you-
the same
when you were
feeling that
licking
I'm
the
getting,
pavers,
tasting
This is
this.
getting
Yeah.
really weird.
Exactly.
I wish I could remember the word stone fruit because it escapes me a lot.
Oh.
It sounds so sophisticated.
Well, there's a pit,
over
and that's the
Stone fruit.
stone.
peaches.
And remember, we've talked about that in a lot of wines. A lot of white wines have the stone fruit characters, but you can be that crunchy white nectarine. That's a stone fruit. It's just super crunchy and fresh and delicious.
I like
Or you
that.
could be that dripping dark peach that's so ripe and just there's a stone in there. It's stone fruit, but it's just so ripe and it's just juicy and dripping. You can
And
go
in red wine, you
across the
sub
spectrum.
plum for that. There's a crispy plum or a rum plum. I didn't properly describe why Riesling goes well with spicy food, so I just spend $10, go buy a Riesling, and make a hot noodle dish. I don't know the science
Okay, I
behind it.
have
It's
a-
just delicious.
you
I have a
I don't
comment.
know the
Cools your palate
subtlety
down.
of it, right? It's just like,
Cools your palate.
But there is like
I
an
have a
actual
comment
science.
and a question.
and it's not like overwhelming, right? So it'll just offset that spicy. Like that's what I'm getting from this Riesling is just like, it's a subtleness. It's really good. It's like, yeah, it would just take down anything
it's not even like
kinda hits
it'll
you in the-
pair well, it'll help it. It will actually, there'll be some sort of chemical
Just knock it
reaction that
back.
it actually will cut the spice of a pepper.
Just science.
Are there any
which we
fruits-
prefer to refer to as magic.
Are there any fruits in the winemaking industry that you try to
magic.
avoid?
Any fruits?
Oh,
Is there-
bad.
Yeah. Is there something that it's like, oh, I don't want that?
Yeah,
that
and I'll
in my
tie
wine.
this back to a previous episode. I don't want my fruit to get bruised, and so you could talk
right.
about an apple. That's the most common one, or a peach. We were just talking about peaches, but yeah, I don't want the fruit to be bruised, and so. Sometimes if fruit gets a little bit riper than you'd like out there in the vineyard because of a heat event, because of weather, and you have to pick and you have to harvest, and maybe it's a little riper than what you were shooting for, then you use certain techniques and tools in the cellar to make sure that you're not bruising the fruit. So there you go. Not a specific fruit, just
Bruised
don't want
fruit.
I just don't want bruised fruit. Yep.
Yeah, underripe fruit, overripe
okay.
fruit, bruised fruit's the worst.
Yep.
Stewed fruit.
So the only thing I
bruise
really
your fruits.
smell, and I'm going to go ahead and now that
How many
peach and
myths
stuff,
do you have?
We're going to
Holy
move
cow.
through it fast. He said some of these
Yeah,
are real easy
we got
for
to
him.
start moving through
But,
these. You got about 13
To me,
myths on here.
I don't want to use the word floral because I don't want to sound like a poser. So I'm going to say flowery since I'm new. To
Flowery. Get
No,
out of here.
floral.
Like to me, it has a little bit of a flower. Well,
it is more
I would
floral
only
than
say
the-
floral because
Yeah.
I thought about it. And wanted to sound
white flower
been reading.
blossom,
You've read the
orange
bottle.
blossom, like a very fragrant, pretty flower. A little bit of jasmine. All
like
of those
that.
are very characteristic.
This is my
I was
beautiful
just picturing
flower.
like just flowery flowers, but not
Flowery
so.
flowers.
What you just said reminds me of that scene in The Wedding Planner when Jennifer Lopez is like giving her pitch to get that big expensive wedding, and she's like, "I see tents thin enough you can see through, and orange blossom trees." And I remember watching that movie and just being like, what do orange blossoms smell like? I don't
this is
know.
what they
I've
smell
never been
like.
invited to that wedding. I need an orange blossom.
Okay. All right.
Okay,
I'll get you an orange blossom.
And then my other quick
in
question.
your glass.
Oh, here it is. It's right here. My other quick question is, I'm not usually like, I don't just choose a white wine often unless it's really hot or maybe lunchtime sometimes. But when I'm out with friends, not just like any lunchtime.
No, I mean,
Okay.
we like
A lot
like
of
a nice
my
white wine
friends
for lunch.
who like white wine, I've never heard anybody order Riesling.
Because you've never
But
been to
drinking it-
sushi with Keith.
Let's
Gosh,
do that.
I
I'm
want
adding it
sushi
to the
with
list.
yes, with y'all. I would love
me write
this
that down.
Riesling with sushi.
Sushi
absolutely.
with
Throw an extra
dry
extra
Riesling.
dollop of wasabi on
You got
there.
it.
Because as I'm drinking this, like I had a dear friend give me a text and I was really happy. I gave her a recommendation on my own. I'm not going to tell you what it is because I don't want to disappoint you if it's not great. But she went and got it for her gathering, and it was a huge hit, a rosé that I like. And I'm drinking this Riesling, which I would never order or pick, and it feels kind of like, no offense, Keith, almost like a chick wine or like a very, like it feels refreshing and good.
No, I could see you liking
It's
this.
very
in
much
lot
a
of
food
settings.
wine.
I can see a lot of people liking this.
This is a wine that you very much choose around a dish that you're having. Sorry, go on.
No, I just wanted to kind of blow their mind with a descriptor real quick.
Oh.
So,
We're going.
one of your favorite things, one of my favorite things, one of our favorite things about wines is when you think back and you get to a childhood memory, a childhood smell, or
what he's
childhood
gonna say.
flavor or taste or something. So what I do when I smell this wine, I close my eyes, and this is very typical in most Rieslings, but I close my eyes and I think about kindergarten, and all of a sudden there's construction paper and scissors, and then maybe there's a little Elmer's glue, And that's where my mind goes when I smell this wine. Besides the florals and besides the beautiful fruit, there's also this sort of construction paper, Elmer's glue type of aroma that's very faint, but it's there in a lot of Rieslings. So I just love it. A lot of people call that oily.
I'm going to sound like I'm making this up, but I almost smelled hay, but I felt like I couldn't say that because it was too close to grass.
No, very different. Straw and hay is very different from fresh cut grass. Colored. Yeah.
Which for me, Keith, growing up in Colorado, we had horses. Well, we kind of had horses. Like we had a mule and a horse named Charlie that would come to its name like a dog, and 2 Arabian horses. And we had this barn that was, we now know was supporting my dad's like sort of hoarding habits. But when we had horses, each year we'd fill the barn with hay. And you could go up. The whole thing was so dangerous. I think that's like part of why I love my dad is I always looked at my childhood experiences as like he had a lot of trust in us. That like we'd be fine. Mm-hmm. So the stairs going up to the loft where he kept all the bikes that he would collect. Because he would, if he ever saw a bike on the side of the road, he'd grab it because he knew he could use the parts to fix our bikes. And so we had this loft filled with bikes, this staircase that had no railing, and then the hay would be stacked all the way up to that loft. And as the year went by, playing on that got more and more exciting because the drops got bigger.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so for me, when you're picturing kindergarten, I can like see the light filtering through and like just, I would literally just go out there and play on the hay by myself. Wow.
And there's a difference between hay.
Don't say it's sad. I had fun.
It's so
I had a really fun time.
If this is hay, I would say the New Zealand, the New Zealand Sauvignon Blanc is alfalfa. Like that's more that green.
Which we also had in our pasture.
So it's more green notes than
Molly's just like dual wielding over here. Look at it. Just I love that.
So women out to lunch should, if they see a Riesling, maybe take a chance.
Depending on what they're eating,
like spicy food.
Depending on what they're eating. It's not as universal, I think, as some white varietals.
Right.
Like Sauvignon Blanc.
Yes.
Like Sauvignon Blanc. But if you're having any sort of spicy food, if you're having Asian food, if you're having sushi, or if it's a dry Riesling.
Here's what I recommend. You sit down.
Quit saying the S word. I want it so bad.
Okay, Keith.
This is what I recommend. You sit down. You order a glass of Sauvignon Blanc, and then you look at the wine list and you decide, all right, I think I'll have a glass of Riesling next.
I like that. Once you decide what you're going to have for lunch.
Sauvignon Blanc is what Keith drinks when he's deciding what to drink or eat.
Exactly.
I'm pretty sure when we went to lunch, with y'all last time, it was like, all right, we'll have give us this bottle of Sauvignon Blanc. We'll start there, and then and we'll figure out what we're doing after that. Yeah,
okay, so this hay discussion and alfalfa and all that leads perfectly to myth number 3.
Okay.
Histamines.
Babe, we're gonna have to pick this up.
He said these are simple.
Okay.
Or this is just a really long episode because it's so
this
fun.
is our rapid fire.
Histamines give me
This is rapid fire.
Histamines give me allergies. Like I can't drink American wine. I've actually had this information told to me, which I parroted to someone else. So I'm part of the problem. I have allergic reaction to histamines in American wine.
All right.
Yep.
Go. 1 to 2 minutes. You're on the clock.
Histamines are naturally occurring in the body, so they're in all of us. All histamines are in our body. It's a natural occurrence. Also, histamines basically occur in any fermented products. So a lot of sauerkraut, beer, wine, cheeses, things like that. Any fermented products. You're going to have some histamines.
In all countries.
In all countries. That's the thing. It's not anything to do with America or South America or Europe or Australia. It doesn't matter because wine is wine, and part of fermentation is byproducts. There's things that happen when you ferment, and there's CO2 that is produced, carbon dioxide that's produced, and that's just natural. And the yeast eats sugar; it creates CO2. There's also a lot of other byproducts, and some of those would be histamines. Some of them are hydrogen sulfides. We talked about that in one of our episodes. And so it doesn't matter what country the wine comes from. There's histamines that naturally occur. It's really about your body. It's about an enzyme in your body, and it's called diamine oxidase, and it's DAO. is the short for that, diamine oxidase. And what that does is it breaks down histamines. And so some people have higher levels, some people have lower levels, most people have moderate levels of that compound, of that enzyme in your body that breaks down those compounds. And so that's all it is. I mean, it's pretty straightforward. If you don't have a lot of that enzyme in your body, then you're not going to break down histamines as quickly as someone normally would.
But that's no matter where the wine is from. It's just
and
like
that goes for
how
sauerkraut,
we did
cheese.
Yeah, but
beer.
it's just like how we did, American wines have too much alcohol, and then we had them next to wines that had the exact same amount of alcohol. So if you have
kimchi, all these people have eaten all this kimchi these days.
We got it.
There's so many histamines in kimchi.
Let's keep it with wine. If you have a sensitivity to histamines, you're going to have the same amount of histamines in European wines or South American wines, or because it comes from the grape, and all wines are made from
the fermentation.
Yeah, from the fermentation and the grapes.
All I was trying to say is there's more similar, like you can't be saying like it's the European grapes or the European style or the European,
I see what she's saying.
Or the French barrels that are making me choose that wine. Like choose it because you like the style and the process. Like don't go pointing
There's more
at the
similarities
grapes.
between all of these regions and wines than people recognize. So it's not fair to single out
that was a quick
the
rabbit
US
hole.
and American wines because they really have so much of the same key components as European wines.
Yeah, the wine world is small.
Thank
I always
you.
say that. The wine world is very small.
One of the best things about this podcast is how it connects our love of wine with the people and companies who share that passion.
Like Perlick Refrigeration. We first crossed paths through Mason's work with Sartori Cheese and Make-A-Wish, where Mason met Jeff Schwager, who's now on Perlick's board and an investor in one of our favorite Napa wineries, Ovid.
Perlick has been setting the standard for wine storage for over a century, and their wine refrigeration is second to none because great wine deserves perfect care.
We're proud to have Perlick as part of Crosby's crew, keeping our wine at the perfect temp, from the first pour to the last drop.
All right, what's the next myth? Hit us.
There it was. Okay. Well, that this is less of a myth and more of a. Well, let's skip ahead to one myth I wasn't going to do. That we have to talk about legs when we drink wine, or if we want to know about wine, we discuss the legs. And by the way, I'm happy to open this right now. We found a wine that you mentioned, Holly. If we need to be able to have a little visual representation of legs,
You're willing to open that one?
I'll jump on that grenade. I have a red wine just
Well,
sitting here
we already have
randomly.
the-
Okay,
We already
so do
have
we
the
care about legs when we
sparkling
are
wine
swirling
open, so-
wine? When we're trying to look smart in a tasting room, and people say,
White wine
"Oh,
doesn't
look
make
at the
any sense.
legs on this wine."
what I'm
Do
saying.
you roll your eyes or do you say, "Wow, they're educated"?
Depends on the customer.
Don't hold back,
It
Keith.
depends on the customer because customer's always right.
How much wine
Customers
they
always
order?
right.
That's right.
That was the
That's
wrong
right.
example.
Customer is
Good
always
answer.
right.
Good
Yes,
answer.
sir. Those legs are
If
impressive.
I was at, well, that's illegal probably, but if
Did he say that?
yeah,
That's
no, he doesn't
illegal.
say that to customers.
Probably. Yeah, probably.
If we were at a dinner table, just you and me, and you opened a wine for me, and I said, "Look at the legs on these," would you roll your eyes or would you say, "Wow, baby, you're smart"?
I'd say, look at the legs on you.
Stop it! Answer the
Yeah,
question.
smart.
It's rapid fire.
He is smart.
Very smart.
No, that's a
He
great answer.
thinks it's dumb.
He answered it without answering
Keith,
it.
if I'm going to tell
He said he
people,
would deflect and say,
if
like,
I'm going
you
to
have
tell
great
people
legs.
that everything I know about wine, I learned from Keith and Holly Emerson. Do you want me going out in the world and looking and commenting on the legs in a glass?
No, thank you, ma'am. It's just not important. I mean, it's
not important.
it just doesn't give you much.
Oh,
I mean,
it's just not important.
It's not
No,
important.
it just doesn't do anything for
It's
you.
pretty. It's
It's not going
nice
to tell
to
you
see.
anything.
Yeah.
Just something to talk about. It
Yeah.
is something that seltzer can't do.
I know, but
true.
people do always say that. Oh, you can tell the alcohol and the viscosity. Look at the leg. Like it doesn't.
Moving on.
Yeah. Next one. What's the next myth?
That was so easy. Okay. Now we're back to
Oh,
kind
you-
of.
Is this one like
That's for you. Yeah, that's the end.
Is this the pouring?
Look, you go ahead and open this red one because we're going to need that.
Mason, do you have sparkling open?
We don't need to open sparkling.
I do.
We sure do.
Yeah.
I already opened it.
We already opened it.
Dump this for me.
Okay, so now we're back to just kind of our very primary episode of rounding out wine knowledge. So, what's the deal with tannins? Are they important?
That is important.
Do we talk
That is
about
important.
them? Okay. Legs, no. Tannins, yes. What's the movie with the tannins quote?
Freaking tannins.
Freaking tannins.
What's that from?
What movie is that?
That's from How I Met Your Mother.
Oh.
Whenever
TV show.
TV show, come to the loft and they're doing a wine night, and I think they're opening up bottles of wine. They're like, it's got to breathe, got to let it's like the tannins, and he goes, freaking
Wait.
tannins.
Do you want to talk about how to open a bottle
Actually,
of
no,
sparkling
it was
wine?
her that said it was Lily.
Ooh.
Is this extra credit?
Well, my preferred method is
I launched the cork.
It actually scared me.
Oh, it was awesome.
Yeah.
I went into the
This
rafters.
is-
I'd like you to
This
know
is
with
how to
varying
do it.
success, I have sabered
Nice.
champagne.
Yes.
Please do not try
Always a
that
good
at home
saber.
necessarily. This is how you
Oh,
do
sorry,
it
no,
when you
don't do
did
that.
not just win a Super Bowl.
Yes. When you did not just win a Super
okay.
Bowl and maybe you're in a movie theater and you have to be quiet, then you do the old.
That's the most
love your
Napa.
your
That's the most
movie
Napa
theater
thing I've
drinks.
ever
That's
heard.
Listen. I'll put it up to the mic.
Okay.
That was actually kind of
That was loud.
That was loud, actually. So-
Usually it's a.
But it was very
There's a lot of
controlled.
pressure
That was a
there.
nice
There's
It
a
was
lot of
very
pressure
controlled.
That was.
in general. It should sound like what should it sound like, darling?
Should sound like a nun farting.
I love
Not
that.
what I was expecting
So
you to say.
really, what's so lovely
That's so good.
about, and I'm going to say champagne. Of course, champagne has to be made in the Champagne region, so it is technically a sparkling wine. But what's so lovely about sparkling wine is all of those beautiful bubbles, and you don't want to release too many of them. You want to keep them all in the bottle to keep in your glass. So if you're doing a big pop, you're just releasing a lot of what makes it so beautiful. So all of us, it's kind of like you're cooler. The quieter it is, the cooler you are. So you're actually
Is this like
supposed to-
golf? You want a low score?
yeah, I guess.
wanna-
But if you
But you
win
did
the
say
Super
if you've won
Bowl,
Or
you said-
diving?
So you said if you've won a Super Bowl, it's okay to just launch the
Because
cork.
he
All right.
shot ours across the room.
That's why I launched the cork
and
every time.
sometimes we do
'cause
launch
it's
a
fun.
cork, and it's super fun. Like for something like this, but if you are, especially
But not in a movie theater.
not in a movie theater,
that's
that's fine. But also,
or at a
you
sporting
just want to keep
event.
it. And if it's an older one, so a lot of older champagnes, which can be so beautiful, they have. You will lose a lot of those bubbles. So if you're opening a very expensive, fancy, older champagne, you do want to keep as much of those bubbles in. So those are ones to be very, just more delicate
Okay.
with.
Does the spoon thing work?
No.
The spoon and okay. That's going
Just
around Instagram
drink
too. You guys,
it.
I'm trying so hard. Just finish
I
it.
don't understand people that need champagne, like the savers.
Preservation.
Like we have one. I don't think it's probably still in the package.
Sugar is important in champagne, and tannins are not like legs. They matter. I really think we have to open the red one.
Tell us why tannins
Champagne,
matter.
but just sugar in champagne. We will talk about that. Like you actually need it to go through fermentation, correct? Like you need it to go through dosage, which gives it all of the bubbles. And we should have a
Wait, what was that word you just said?
dosage.
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 Dosage, yes, DOSAGE.
Dosage.
Dosage. It's adding sugar into the bottle or into the wine, and then letting it let the yeast eat the sugar. So you're adding sugar.
So
to
can we say
dosage.
like
That's how you're.
we dosage our coffee?
Yeah, you do.
I don't.
We should have an episode of just a sparkling wine episode because it is very interesting how it's made.
Let me add that to the
For
notes.
sure. We will dive into that. So what were we talking about? Tannins, or are we
And-
talking about how I can't pour?
No, we're doing
Wine
tannins
without
and
spilling.
sugar and champagne, and then we'll finish with
Okay.
Mason getting a
All right,
lesson on
tell
how
us
to
why
pour.
tannins,
Tannins
are
are
important,
definitely important.
and why we should pay attention.
Tannins represent the structure in the wine. So there's acidity, there's acid and pH, and we've talked a lot about that in the past. But there's tannins as well, and we're focused more on red wines when we're talking about tannins. There are some tannins in white wines, but not as big a part of the whole story of the wine. The red wines, that's where tannins play a really a very pivotal role. They can be resolved. They could be sort of fine-grained tannins. They can be firm. They can also be sort of edgy and kind of, a lot of people say drying. Sometimes there's kind of chalky or drying tannins. And sometimes there's supple, kind of supple, opulent type of tannins. And so there's all these different things.
Several sources.
Yeah, and that's where I was going next, my love. So the tannins in red wine are coming from a few different places. And there's the skins on the grapes. There's the skins, the actual skin of the grape. And then there's the seeds that are inside the grape. And then there's also the barrels. The barrels that we use to age the wines have tannins as well. And then some winemakers choose to use
the French
other types of
barrels.
tannins. Yes,
French
you got it. Some winemakers tend to use tannins too, though. That we actually can use a powder form of tannin to add to the wine for structure. So there's a bunch of different types of tannins in the wine. But yeah, it helps with ageability. It helps with antioxidant characters and all kinds of different little uses in tannin.
So when that fruit breaks down in a wine, you have to be left with something. And a lot of times that's the tannin structure, right? Mm-hmm. So the higher the tannins, the more ageability in a wine.
Important.
Okay.
Which here on Crosby's crew,
Look at those legs.
yeah, we went ahead and opened some red.
They're on red.
He was talking.
We do not want to discourage people from saying, look at those legs.
Molly, we started talking tannins, and she's like, "Well, we got to pour some red wine just so we can, experience."
Molly loves
the
podcast
tannins.
filming days. We always have this many wines
She does.
open. Molly's
It's
like,
such a-
we can open 6 bottles.
Yeah. Last time, the first one I think we had 6 bottles. I mean, we were like,
because Mason
finishing
kept
them
opening
for
the wrong
next-
one.
Right.
I did open
Well,
a lot.
you
I just
technically
start
have
going.
7
I'm like-
people in your household. I mean, 5 of them are under
So
the
they're
age
not
of
drinking the wine with
15,
us.
but still. But if you had to fill
that's
out a
what
4,
we have wine for. You open
just
it.
per
No,
capita?
you open
Yeah,
wine,
as
and then
a
you have
per
friends
capita,
over.
on paper,
Exactly.
on paper, you are a household of 7, so it's fine.
7.
So it checks out.
Okay, so tannins really are important because at Crosby's
sure.
Crew too, we're always talking about aging is the point. It's why one of the reasons I love wine is that aging is very positive. I actually heard someone on an ad the other day talk about fighting the symptoms of aging. And I was like, that sounds tiring because that's just happening all the time. So we believe here at Crosby's Crew that aging is the point and aging is a privilege. So if you're going to age your wines, the tannins are important.
They're
Absolutely.
They are.
And do you want to grab that red wine? Holly and I were chatting yesterday, and she said,
We're not-
here's a."
stay on task here.
I just want to show it to the class.
We're out of
we have
control.
this Robert Craig Cabernet
that wine.
that I got at Total
Yeah.
Wine.
knows
That
this
is
wine?
dry fermented, so it's hopefully not super sugary.
It's not
just
super
if
sugar
you're
at all. There's no sugar.
non-diabetic and considering red wine. So tannins are important for aging, and champagne needs sugar. Why?
To produce bubbles.
Yeah. So
bubbles.
the bubbles are created, it's CO2 in there. And that's created by a secondary fermentation. So there's a first fermentation, which basically turns the grape juice into wine. And then after there's another secondary fermentation, and then that's under pressure. And so the CO2 is building and building and building while the yeast is eating that sugar.
Because the
And
yeast
so
needs something to eat.
that's why it's a sparkling wine. because
Oh,
it's
like
under
when you're
pressure.
making bread and the yeast and the sugar bubble.
Yep. You got it.
There you go.
All right.
This is so dang subtle.
I'm going to have an Aperol spritz
smell.
right after this show.
Oh my gosh. Did you see what I posted on our joint Instagram account?
Oh,
It
yeah,
said,
about how robots are
everyone
not
says
taking our
AI is
jobs.
going to take your job. And it said, I'd like to see a robot order 6 Aperol 6 spritzes before lunch in Italy while on
Napa.
vacation in Italy. Or
That's a
at
good one.
lunchtime in Napa.
All right, so let's
Do
go.
you smell it? What
Well,
do you-
I think we need to keep pushing forward because
Mason really wants to. We're on the last thing.
No, I
Mason
know. I just want to.
really wants to learn how to pour wine correctly.
Well,
Keith,
I just-
that's
He
number.
He just wants to finish
I've
up and go
asked
get some
this a couple
sushi. I
times.
think,
Yeah,
right?
sushi and
I am
Dry
getting the
Riesling.
sushi is on the mind, but no, I want to keep us rolling a
How
little
do we
bit.
pour
'Cause
wine without dripping?
Molly's just if we don't keep moving forward, I'm probably opening another bottle of wine.
I do have a
really
couple
fast.
other ones
So,
just in case we ran out of stuff to talk about. Oh,
Molly never
after
does.
the pouring, ask your questions really quick.
Oh, yeah.
okay, so I asked this before, and I can get it, and it's like when you get the little drip, and you see it, nice restaurants, they always have something to wipe, the deal. But like, talk to me about pouring,
Yeah.
a red wine, and how to keep it from, how to keep drip free.
Yeah.
How do we stay drip free over here?
Well, as a restaurant kid, I grew up in restaurants. That's how I got into winemaking and did just about every job you can imagine in a restaurant, including peeling potatoes and taking out the trash and stocking wine cellars and all that fun
Nice.
stuff. But you do, as a server, you usually do have a towel on your arm, and that's just great because you can always take a drip, right? Boom, easy. But
Just wipe
yeah,
it.
but
a good cheat.
little trick for pouring maybe without a towel is just the twist. So, if I'm going to pour myself a little bit of Blanc,
The twist.
I'm going to
so you
twist.
go
See how I twist
under.
like that? Boom.
Oh, you pull it to the top.
This
See?
is like the bend and snap
Okay.
and Legally
Yes.
Blonde.
You got
Twist.
it. You got it. Reese.
But
With
it's
it.
also always
right.
why I wear black. So you just do this, that, and then just wipe it on yourself. Honestly, that's what I do.
I like your
Yeah,
style.
100%.
Oh,
100%.
So it's your
good.
outfit. That's why you can't pour wine.
Let's see how that. No.
mean, I'll
Practice
wipe it
the
on. I don't
twist.
care.
Practice the twist. And then the.
Okay.
All right, I'll practice right now. I'm gonna just
pouring discs?
for
Molly
Riesling.
loves the
I do-
Riesling. She is
Great.
Molly loves the Riesling. Wait, Molly, what do you do?
Oh, I dripped.
Oh, you try. That was a weird pour.
Okay, what do you smell in the champagne, Mason?
Oh, we're still okay. We're still going down that.
We're okay embarrassing ourselves.
There's also drip pouring discs, which Keith is looking for, and we don't have.
Yeah, I didn't see one.
Ooh,
Yeah.
that's what we need in our
Yeah,
life.
so don't
those
be
little
afraid of
circular
those sort of
discs?
things.
Those
I
work
love
too.
those.
Yeah.
Dang, it's
Then you don't
so
have to
subtle,
twist.
No, it's
right?
good.
Compared to the other ones, it's so subtle.
All right. I
Subtle
taste,
meaning I have no words.
Which is
taste the bubbles.
why I want to make an Aperol spritz with it. It seems like a great base.
Yeah.
Yes. Agreed.
It is a great base. I love that.
I get some apple.
Sparkling wine.
Yeah. Green apple.
I get a lot of green apple.
Oh, now that you say that,
Green apple for sure.
Yeah.
And honestly, I don't know. I'm probably champagne's probably the one that I'm not I have no real deep knowledge of.
So this is a sparkling wine, not a champagne. So there
sorry.
is a big
Sparkling
distinction.
wine.
There is a legal
Who brought this
distinction
guy?
between
The
that.
legal
Well, I just want to. I don't
distinction,
want to get
sparkling wine.
sued. I
No,
like
I
doing the
agree with you.
podcast.
I agree with
sparkling
you.
being
Sparkling
not
wine.
produced in Champagne, France.
Yes, that's
Yes.
all that means.
Hey, what did you guys drink champagne after you won the Super Bowl? I can't remember.
I don't
I
know.
had a
they were-
6-month-old baby. I was so tired.
They were
Oh,
just
yeah.
We shook
spraying
him
it.
into it. Yeah.
Right.
It's
more
generally
headquarters.
not champagne that gets
All right.
shook because traditionally champagne is going to be more expensive than sparkling.
Yes. So it's a sparkling wine. And yes, I just, I enjoy it. But, I think definitely more time and place for me with
Yeah, for
sparkling
sure.
wine.
Yeah.
I'm not just going to say,
It's not like
that's how I
Molly
wanna
with
start my
Cabernet
meal.
where it's always a time and place.
I'd go Sauvignon Blanc for sure.
Always a time and place. I wish I had more words, which no one's ever
I
said
like the
about
green
me ever.
apple and
Yeah, little green apple, little creaminess. Honestly, make a spritz out of it. That's what I would say.
Yeah.
It's super
Okay.
solid, well made.
Spritz it up.
No issues, but
Yep.
Okay, you guys ask your question while and ready your whiteboards.
I have my
what our
whiteboard.
favorite was. I know what Molly's favorite was.
Actually, I haven't tried this Robert Craig yet.
well, we don't have.
Oh my gosh, it smells so good. It's
All right, do you have
all the
any-
things I
Is that
like
Robert
about
Are
Craig?
y'all
Robert
asking surprise questions or are we asking
Mace,
them?
will you look at the year on that? They actually had two Robert
2021.
Craigs at Total
Great
Wine.
year. That's the Howell Mountain cab that you have?
Yes.
That's a great wine.
Oh, I don't recommend it right after the champagne.
Little higher alcohol content. It's like a 14.8.
Yep.
It's because it's fermented
That's an honest
dry.
14.8.
That's an honest 14.8.
That's an honest 14.8.
Molly, my question for you. Did you grow up with wine on the table? Do you have memories of your parents having wine at parties? Or my parents used to have the frozen Bacardi that you like added water to, like the, I don't know if those existed
Oh my gosh,
in
like
your
the
time.
lemonade things?
Yes, but they were like alcohol somehow.
I do. So my dad
Oh, it was
is-
like the margarita, right?
Something like that,
the
yeah.
Thing. Yeah. Okay.
So
we
my
did.
dad has never changed. It might be why I enjoy being around him. It's always been a jug of Carlo Rossi. It always comes out about 45 minutes before dinner.
Strong.
It always has
Strong.
a couple ice cubes in it.
Perfect.
But that's another thing, though, that she will do. She will choose sparkling wine whenever people are having a beer.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so you still
Like,
have
I
that
love-
same
so-
I'll get that.
effervescence.
I'll get
yeah.
some of that. But
Yes.
You like to be
I'm
included,
wanting to
but
drink beer.
After a trip to Napa, I started getting splits from Schaumsburg.
love.
So that sometimes after the game, when we were waiting for traffic to die down, I would have a split of Schaumsburg over wine,
Just a
over beer,
post-tailgate party.
and feel really good about my life choices.
Right.
Okay.
So that's mine.
I love that.
Yeah.
That'd be after the team meal.
Oh, I love the team meal.
Yes.
You'd go out to the car
In the
after
gym?
Yeah, exactly.
Go after the car.
team
I
meal.
love
yeah.
that y'all experienced that with
That
us.
was really cool.
So do we.
Important,
Best food in Green Bay, right there at the stadium.
without a doubt.
Getting meatballs.
Keith, what's your question?
What's your question, Keith?
My question is for Mason.
Gavin.
And I want to
Okay.
know what your favorite stadium to kick in is, besides Lambeau, of course.
Lambeau's actually pretty tough.
Favorite stadium to kick in? Probably Dallas.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Why?
AT&T
The
Stadium.
new one. Yeah, the nice one. The new
Yeah, the new one. I mean, had some awesome games there. We won a lot of games in that stadium.
Suckers.
And one of my big,
The game you guys came to was a Cowboys game, and I think
was.
Mason kicked a game winner.
Yes, he did.
yep.
For
So,
sure he did in overtime.
Yeah.
In
A
overtime.
different Dallas game that he kicked a game winner.
Yeah. Cowboys, I think,
Sorry, not sorry.
I don't know if they wish they had drafted me, maybe not, but I definitely got them. Yeah, got them back. They passed up on me, and I was able to kick quite a few game winners against the Cowboys over my career. But kicking in Dallas, being from Texas, it was always great. Had a lot of family, friends,
Yeah.
and it kind of felt good breaking their hearts.
Oh, I love that. Okay,
going
so it
into
had nothing
Dallas
to
and
do
doing
with the
that as
actual
well.
stadium position or
But the stadium
win.
is easy. It's a great place to kick
It's
in. Yeah.
indoors.
Okay.
The turf is
It's pretty
Gra-
perfect.
like the ball sits
Okay.
up really high. Like
Okay.
the ball flies well in
Is
there.
it real
So-
grass in there?
No.
Okay.
I
So
do
just
not
the
like
being able to
turf, but,
stick it to him was
But
just
he
like
likes
a
that
bonus.
Yeah, that always helped.
I love that.
Good answer.
That's a great answer.
It's not
It is what
it's
it
not
is.
hateful.
It is what it is.
It's just what it is.
They did pass on him the year he.
It's actually probably how most Cowboys fans feel. Is like they root for their Cowboys, but they kind of want Jerry Jones and like some of the stuff to fail.
Yes.
We just got a
that's-
real hot
That's
take.
like it's a
This
wild.
all just
I
happened.
love
No, that's
this.
like it's literally the Cowboys fan mindset. Like I grew up in Texas, so like that is how they view it. I met a lady, she's decked out in Cowboys gear, and she actually mentioned the game where I kicked the game winner in the playoffs, and she was just like, I don't want to like you, but I love you, man. Like
I need that with
I
a
don't care
Texas
that
accent.
you beat our Cowboys.
I want that with a Texan accent.
You need
yeah.
a Texas accent. I don't know if I got. I mean, my dad, like none of us. really
Molly's
have a
itching to
Texas-
do it.
And you're not.
I'm
He's
I'm
not.
horrible
No,
at
he's not
accents.
good at
I'm
accents.
horrible.
Everything's Jamaican. Would Riesling be good with
Everything's
Jamaican
Russian
food if it's
for me.
spicy?
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Okay. Do y'all have your favorites
All right.
from
Yeah.
today?
Let's dive in. Okay. Where are we going?
I think our podcast should be 2 hours.
Molly.
This is so fun.
Sauvignon Blanc, Tiny Giants.
You're always, I feel
Tiny
like
giant. Oh,
tiny
Tiny
giants.
Giant. It's a thing.
that's adorable.
Chris
I
Berry.
feel like you're always a little, like
am
you
I the
have,
outliner?
you're
again?
a wild card. You're kind of a wild
Was
card.
everybody
yeah.
Riesling?
You're just not invited out
Yeah.
to Thai food. That's all.
Yeah.
I think.
Oh, for listening only, we all picked Riesling except for Holly.
Who's apparently always the outliner.
Always.
I march to my own drum, guys. I like
Yep,
I
just
like
beat to your own-
Zin and
yep.
Sauvignon Blanc because it reminds me of my youth.
Well, I did.
That's right. You were the outlier in the first.
wait.
Okay, I did
first
just
episode.
like how the Riesling tasted, even though we had no wine. Although we're totally getting sushi, right?
Yeah.
That's happening.
Okay.
Yeah. I was gonna order it while on this, like while we were recording, but I'm like,
But
okay,
also
let's
have
stay
something
focused here.
that also have something with spice. Like if you can do Vietnamese food
All right, so
or
we'll
something
probably
like
do
that.
No, we'll do like we have a place
It's
here that has like
both.
it's Thai
It
and
has
sushi and like so
I
we'll
can't wait
get-
for you to
do
come
that.
visit.
It's the dry Riesling that we actually really like with sushi. That Trefethen dry
that's
Riesling
spicy.
is
It's
what
Fine.
we always
I have no
What do you like, the
problem
spicy
going
curry? What do you like?
immediately and getting the Trefethen
Dry
Riesling.
Riesling. This is
This
great.
was a
The
great
Chateau Saint Michel is
episode,
great.
if I do say so myself. Cheers to Keith and Holly.
Yes.
We miss
For
you.
liberating us from looking at legs, although it's fine if you look at
Whoa,
legs.
yeah. I ain't stopping.
This, I think we're ready now.
That was kind of
so-
Texan for you.
Yeah, there you
I
go.
ain't stopping.
I ain't
It was
stopping looking
interesting,
at the
though.
legs.
Let's go down to Amarillo.
Oh gosh, that was not Jamaican at all.
We'll go down to Amarillo. We'll get us.
That
Actually,
actually
we'll
feels
go
a little Tennessee.
We'll
a
go
little
up to
southern.
Amarillo from Lubbock.
Not bad.
You gotta like kind of be a little high pitched.
So you actually sound like an auctioneer now, but we were at the Linkin Park concert last night, and I will say the concert was electric, so amazing. Talk about aging the right way. Like that band is still so relevant.
It was awesome.
They sounded so good, but
Into
they
the mic.
did. But
Like that.
they
You're
did.
Like this. She's learning how to.
She's the best.
Sorry.
What do I do
guys.
with my hands?
They did a Johnny Cash intro to the song Numb, and I almost cried. I felt like you with Sulfites, Keith. I'm like, why did they do that? Why did they do that? I don't understand. Take it back. Play it right. It was an unbelievable concert.
All right.
But they did the intro to Numb in a Johnny Cash, like it was an accent.
All right, how are we gonna wrap this up, my love? Oh, you want me to do this? Okay.
Yeah.
This sounds so much more like you.
Okay,
we've crushed
all right,
the
I got it. So we've crushed some wine myths, rounded out the basics, and hopefully given you the confidence to enjoy your way, hopefully with us here on Crosby's Crew. So now we're going to move into meat and potatoes. We're still going to be doing a little teaser. We have some great guest episodes coming down the pipe. If I can learn how to work social media, and then we're going to really kind of, now that we've convinced you very, very convincingly,
Yes.
Don't
Don't be afraid. Come
that
on this journey
American
with
wine
us.
is great. That if you are not a diabetic, you can enjoy wine. Oh, shoot. I didn't even use my props. It's like less this type of sugar. Those are Skittles. And more this type of sugar. Those are carrots.
Those are carrots.
We are not
These aren't
doctors.
baby carrots.
This is
They're
not
just
medically
These
certified.
are these are
This is
tiny
not. We are
giant
not
carrots.
doctors.
Tiny giant carrots. So cheers to the next time we're together. And get out there and try something. Just don't look at the legs.
Enjoy.
Unless it's your date.
Subscribe, share, reviews, give us all your stuff. And hey, we want to thank our sponsors that have jumped on board. And keep enjoying the show. Follow us. Yep, let us know what you wanna hear about, and we're here for all of it. So
Love it.
appreciate it. Crosby's Crew.
Cheers.
Out.
Cheers.
Who you share it with.
Well, that's it for this pour. Thanks for spending time with Crosby's Crew. If you tried one or all of the wines from today's episode, we want to hear about it. Head to our socials and let us know which one was your favorite and why.
Curious about what we're tasting next? Check the lineup and send us your questions. We'll be answering them in the upcoming episodes. Nothing's too nerdy or too simple. If you're wondering, someone else is probably wondering too.
And hey, before you go, just a reminder that drinking and driving is never okay. Please enjoy wine responsibly. Always have a designated driver lined up before the bottles open, and consume in moderation.
Until next time, cheers from the crew.